Along Wisconsin's northern coast, rivers draining the land flow into the cold, blue waters of the freshwater sea, Lake Superior. Their waters mix and mingle in shallow coastal wetlands called freshwater estuaries. Just as Lake Superior shapes them, the estuaries in turn influence the lake through the quality of the water they send her in a dynamic relationship that affects the people, wildlife, and plants of the region. Like a string of pearls, freshwater estuaries grace Lake Superior's sweeping shoreline. Each estuary is a unique treasure, a pearl, connected by the waters of Lake Superior, and each tells a story best shared by the people who cherish them. European immigrants came to farm the cutover lands around Whittlesey Creek. Crops and pastures replaced the virgin white pine forest. Not until the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service established the Whittlesey Creek National Wildlife Refuge has there been a chance to restore this estuary and a native fish species that disappeared from its waters.
Where we are is at the Whittlesey Creek National Wildlife Refuge, which is our 522nd refuge in the nation. And what's so special about it is it's one of the estuaries or coastal wetlands at the head of the Chequamegon Bay. We have some really incredible restoration opportunities here at Whittlesey Creek because there's been some really drastic land use changes within the creek itself and also in the watershed. One of the things that's happened with Whittlesey Creek is in the early 1950s, U.S. Corps of Engineers came in and they straightened and dredged the lower end of Whittlesey Creek.
This channelizing of Whittlesey Creek was intended to drain its wetlands for farming and to prevent flooding. But speeding up the flow of water off the land caused more erosion.
And so what that's done is it's changed the morphology of the stream, and we no longer have as many of the nice gravel beds in the stream as we used to have, which are really important for the spawning trout and salmon. But it's something that we have to deal with within the stream itself to slow down some of that sand deposition.
With the restoration of Whittlesey Creek comes the opportunity to reintroduce a species once native to its waters.
The coastal brook trout is one of those fall spawning brook trout that is not like a typical resident brook trout which spends its entire life in the stream. It spawns in the stream and then spends the rest of its lifetime in the lake because it doesn't have to battle the cold temperature, it doesn't have to battle the current like a resident brook trout does. Those brook trout get nice and big. In about the late 1800s, as far as we know, they're basically fished out of the Wisconsin waters of Lake Superior. So what we're hoping to do is to do an experimental reintroduction in Whittlesey Creek to see if we can restore at least part of the population in Wisconsin. So we think that the potential for restoring the watershed is also really good because the runoff should be slowing down over time as some of those farm fields begin to grow up into trees and shrubs. But one of the things that we need to also do besides just restore the stream itself is restore areas in the watershed and work with landowners on keeping some of the watershed area in as much of a natural state as possible.